Nothing works here. That's the outburst of Medina MP Francis Xavier Sosu as he serves notice of a constituency-wide demonstration to demand immediate government attention on poor roads and drainage causing floods in the area. We have details as flood victims in the area continue to be trapped in their homes 5 days after heavy rains.
Thing is working in Medina. I cannot be an MP of an area that would not work. If it is not working, I will make it work. And that is why I am leading my people to demand from the right quarters our own fair share of national development.
Also tonight, the stakes are high and the NPP intends to use vigilante group, the Invincible Forces, to force through the confirmation of the Cape Coast Metropolitan Chief Executive nominee, Ernest Arthur, who has already been rejected twice. That's the claim of two NDC MPs. We'll take you live there as tension builds ahead of the confirmation vote. Also, not good enough. That's the verdict of some Ghanaians to government's 2 months tax relief on petroleum products announced by the NPA.
Pricing window is twice a month, the 1st to 15th, which has already been determined. So if we have the communication given to us, hopefully before close of 15th, we probably should be able to have a feel of it.
We'll hear from COPEC and the NPA, which has already begun computations to ensure that this takes effect at the pump.
Just that kind of stuff is just too late, as somebody just said. I think that as we go along this way, President go along this way, and we should look at the corruption is too late, as somebody just said.
John News Prime is coming to you live from our studios here at Fanofa, Kukumlemle, Accra. You're live on DSTV, channel 421, Go TV 144. This is your home of independent, fearless, credible, and impactful journalism. Stay tuned in.
Hello, my name is Nathaniel Atto. You can catch up with all the fun and inspiration on the Joy Sports link here on Joy 99.7 FM, together with all other shows over and over again. It's very simple. All you need to do is go to myjoyonline.com/podcast and relive all of those fun moments over and over again. Joy 99.7 FM, your radio for discerning listeners.
Joy 99.7.
Hello again, many thanks for joining us. It's nearly 2 years since the COVID-19 virus was first found in Wuhan, China. It has gone on to become a pandemic and the biggest and most destructive the world has seen in at least a century. More than 200 million people have been infected the world over, with nearly 5 million dead. Here in Ghana, more than 8,000 people have died with over 100,000 infections. These numbers notwithstanding, there are still doubts by some people if this is real at all. John News' Justice Bedu went to find out why in a documentary that will show after the news. Here's a teaser.
All the people here were killed by COVID. So the whole stretch from the entrance to this place is earmarked solely for COVID body burial. The moment you enter here and we bring your body here, it's COVID. The weeds you see all, the weeds and the stumps all stand on COVID graves. The whole of the place, stretching from down there, you can have a look to yourself. Stretching from the entrance there to the end of that forest there. COVID bodies. COVID graves all. My name is Joseph Abugri Asitanga. I was born in the Upper East region, Zebila.
Joseph Asitanga does a job many people would not want to do. He's the head of the team of environmental health workers who bury people killed by COVID-19. He works in Accra, the epicenter of Ghana's COVID-19 fight. More than 7 out of 10 COVID-19 deaths happen in this city.
The whole of Greater Accra region here, if there is COVID body anywhere, it's my team that goes to do the burial. We bury no less than 300 to 400 Greater Accra alone. I think we have buried more than 400 bodies in Udome Cemetery here and other cemeteries.
This is a very difficult job, and the men who do it are extremely challenged. But they brave the odds, hoping that their work would go to show that this disease is real and kills.
When we come in, why we use the siren at its higher peak is another form of educating and sensitizing the public that what sort of body is AMA carrying, and they are blowing the siren like that. So the moment you turn to the car, you see my people, hey, this is COVID, corona, corona, and they start running away. So they get back, they also tell their people that, hey, the COVID today, I saw the corona people, they call me corona man.
And the full documentary shows after the news at 8:30 p.m. Nothing works here. That's the outburst of Medina MP Francis Xavier Susu, who has served notice of a constituency-wide demonstration to demand immediate government attention to the poor roads and drains in the area. Scores of residents at OYA Green Hill, a suburb within the constituency, have been trapped in their homes by floodwaters for the past 5 days. Children are unable to go to school because the floodwaters are yet to recede. We'll hear from the Medina MP Francis Xavier Susu shortly, but first, my colleague Manuel Cranton visited the area for the second time in 5 days and now reports.
Between the situation we have here at OYA Green Hill and what was the situation 2 days ago, it's just an addition of 2 extra days. The water levels are still pretty much around the knee level. The people are still trapped in their homes. Over the side, I see some of the kids who are trapped in their homes, just, running about in the house, which in itself has been inundated by the water. Across this particular stretch where I have been walking through the flat waters, I see a stretch of buildings with markings of the La Nkwantana Medina Municipal Assembly, which says stop work. Well, all of those warnings, if you like, from the Municipal Assembly have fallen on deaf ears, as we're seeing steady progress of the buildings on the waterways. I'll try and through the water, get to this side where I see a few of the people who are trapped in this particular house.
That was last week, Wednesday. We're not expecting it. It was just drizzling. Then all of a sudden it became serious. Then Thursday, this is not the second time. I think this is the third time. I've been here for 2 years and I've witnessed this for, I think, 2 years now. When it rains, there's no gutter, there's nothing should be done. We'll be inside, we can't go out. We have been stuck, the children are still home. We really need help. If the state, the government can bring us pump. For now, we can't plead for gutters because it's so choke here. There's no lay to be help to create any gutters, but we need help as pump to let the water be a little bit okay so that we can go out, we can breathe well. The scent is too much.
The parliament team PA. A direct team got to be impo. Yes, a damn so but to actual fence, you must not go to Adriano. Me man team go school. Tazens you to and Quano will fiesta, I want to go school. And yes, Renana, Ado, say upon a chow, or my boy. Now, when you go to my
What you heard her saying, that she's been camped here since Thursday. She's not been able to go out, and she's calling on the president and by extension authorities within the area to come to their aid. And I see some of the kids here. How long since Thursday? That's 5 days now. How does that make you feel?
5 days.
How does that make you feel?
Bad.
You want to go to school?
Yes.
So what? How do you cross from this side to this side?
I walk in the bridge.
You walk over the bridge. Are you not scared that you may even fall into the pool of water?
I fall before.
You falling before?
Yes.
When was that?
Last week.
Last week you fell into the pool of water.
Yes.
I see. So how were you picked out of the water?
It is smelling.
I see. And you're hearing him, and of course that gives you an indication of indeed the threat not only to their properties, even their lives here.
Sensational number there many problem, but wo nyanyankyerɛ ne scorpion no omu gugu nsuo n'ani mesi me ku omu tesese ne me kɔ ahwe no eti no ne kra nyame ni de ha me kra ne se wa bre na wo beda na mponkyereni na omu su munim se ne mponkyereni su we su wa ha na we su asom na minim ne mame ne papa no ne nanam kyese akwese wuti efie busu efie na dede wo fie sa na ete.
He's mentioning that there are, some animals, dangerous animals, within the pool of water that's gathered here for 5 days. He says that he had actually got cause to kill a snake about 3 days ago.
Na call them, yes, Tonomu, or Senya Manina Mai. You could them and offend some you and Sana, you could them.
But some more dying for.
One other.
That's you.
Aye, baby, and you are ever call. Yeni bebia ebe pake nyamane koe nti yedemu saa
se amponcheni so yedidi pa oha
enya agro woda wontu menda
omo yede
woda no me za adiabe.
MP for the area Francis Xavier Sosu has served notice he will lead residents in a constituency-wide demonstration to get authorities to address the situation.
I filed an urgent question in respect of the lack of planning. I filed an urgent question in respect of all the roads in Medina, and I've actually the Mensa all the way to Amrehia roads. There's an urgent question on that. There's an urgent question on roads in Sakura, and there's an urgent question on the abandoned project in Medina. In fact, there's an urgent question even on the hospital project that has been abandoned, because when you look at the Kekele hospital, it's just left with something maybe less than 10 or 15% of work, and the entire hospital will be ready. And this Kekele hospital services over 50,000 people annually. And yet, it seems that nothing is working in Medina. I cannot be an MP of an area that would not work. If it is not working, I will make it work. And that is why I am leading my people to demand from the right quarters our own fair share of national development. This is a letter I have addressed. It's just today that I sent this letter, and this letter I address it to the divisional commander of the Adenta Division Command, and the letter is so clear that we are giving them 5 days notice, because next week Monday, under my own leadership, the chiefs, the elders, the youth organizations and the youth leaders, the transport associations, resident associations, everyone who has suffered for using those stretch, particularly from Mensa all the way to Amrehia, we are calling on all of them to come out so that we can use that last tool, which is a tool in a democracy, to freely express our anger to the state and to the government and to the people who are custodians of our money and who have given this roads to contract and have refused to either pay the people for the contractors to come or have just turned their deaf ear to the plight in Medina. In a related development, residents of Lakeside Estate Communities 4 and 5 in Adenta municipality are trapped in their homes after a heavy downpour Sunday night. According to residents, the area floods every time it rains, making it practically impossible to move out of their homes. This, however, the worst they have experienced. Reports indicate that some estate officials, including an engineer, have been to the area, visited some of the homes to estimate the extent of damage. Let's go to the phone lines now. We are joined by Christopher Ohene Nyako, who is one of the many affected homeowners. Christopher, thank you very much for joining us here on Joy News Prime. You have been trapped in your home for how many days now?
Actually, the waters have receded, so we are out of the house now.
Great, that is some good news. But tell us, how many days did you have to stay indoors because of the flood waters?
Thankfully, it actually didn't last for a day. It happened within the afternoon, and then the rooms were actually flooded, so we had to stay in there for the waters to recede before we could come out.
If your rooms got flooded, and we are seeing some of the visuals on there, describe to us the things that you have lost as a result of this flooding incident.
I could mention a lot of electrical gadgets, my fridges, my laptops. I mean, I could go on and on, not to even talk about clothes, not to talk about certificate books, everything actually.
From what we understand, it floods every time it rains. How long have you lived in the area, and what in your estimation may be, accounting for this?
Okay, so personally, I have lived in the house actually belongs to us, and then we used to give it out for rent. So residents who have been in the house, usually all the time that it rains, the place gets flooded. And this is the third time that the walls have broken in the house. And what is accounting for this situation is that there is the drainage system is really not the best. The level of water that flows in anytime it rains is it's too much for the drainage system. And someone has also actually built on the waterway, making the gutters very narrow. And so the water's receding is actually a problem, causing the build-up behind our wall, thereby breaking the wall, and then the water's coming in.
Very well. Christopher, thank you very much for speaking to us, and we're glad that you're safe. We'll be following up on this once we understand that some officials have been there to assess the situation. You're watching Joy News Prime with me, Ernest Mino. Now, some residents of Takofiano, a suburb of Techiman in the Bono East region, are calling on authorities to construct gutters in the area in order to avert frequent flooding situation. The people are threatening to chase out NADMO and government officials who would visit the area. And Asabit has more in the following report.
I did we are happy more than 6 times. This
has happened more than 6 times. As I speak, our rooms are filled with water. What do they expect us to do? The floods has destroyed everything, including the uniforms of our children. These are residents of Takofiano, a suburb of Techiman in the Bono East region. The people who are complaining of repeated floods say all attempts to get help from city authorities has proved futile over the years. This is what we go through every time it rains. We lose everything to floods. He said they will construct gutters for us, but up to date, we are not seeing anything.
Promise us they will do something. Up to now, they don't do anything. They don't even know that we are part of them. There's no gutter in the entire area. Rainwater from Taku and Tamale Station ends up here in our homes, and our rooms get flooded at the end. See how we are all here with our children. We can't sleep and study again.
Okay, so obviously the people are really perturbed with the current situation. You could see the community, adults, children, and almost everyone is out here worried because it's likely going to rain again, and then the water getting into their rooms is a sort of worry for the people here. All attempts to reach authorities is proving futile.
These people here are threatening to send away municipal and NADMO officials who will visit the area in case of disaster.
Oh, so we jano sa bibisa ekosi na omo ba ye be pamo omo ye pese obia emra ha because I think I can't kire omo it say aka no man be ye dia na ekosi wi ansa na omo be ba ye be pamo omo it yesre omo mra be ye go test no fama ye se de be boye.
Meanwhile, Assembly member for the Takofiano electoral area, Mahmouda Abdullahi, says when a new MC is sworn into office, he will lead residents of the area to the assembly to ensure that their plight is being addressed.
From Takofiano, here in the Techiman South municipality of the Bono East region, my name is Anas Sabit reporting for Joy News.
From Tichima, let's go to the central region, and 2 minority MPs from the Cape Coast municipality have warned that President Akufo-Addo should be blamed if there's bloodshed during the confirmation vote of the president's nominee for the Cape Coast Metropolitan Assembly's chief executive position. Ernest Arthur has been rejected twice by the assembly members, and a third rejection will mean that the president will have to nominate another person for the position. The 2 minority MPs, Kweku Reketagan and Kwamina Menta Nyakung, have been holding a news conference today. They actually held a news conference in Cape Coast a while ago. Correspondent Richard Kojinyako reports.
The 2 members of parliament in Cape Coast North and Cape Coast South constituencies under the Cape Coast Metropolitan Assembly say they have been compelled to address the news conference because of the imminent danger relative to the confirmation of the president nominee for Cape Coast, Ernest Arthur. They say the assembly members having rejected the president nominee twice speaks volumes, and it represents one thing, that the nominee is not fit for purpose. They warn that should the president and his assigns force anybody on the people of Cape Coast, he should be prepared to bear the consequences of his acts.
And the people of Cape Coast have rejected Ernest Arthur. I would like to advise these responsible individuals to stop with immediate effect the meddling in Cape Coast Metropolitan Assembly elections. They have no business here in Cape Coast. The following people are the Transport Minister, Mr. Kweku Ofori Esiama, who's been meddling in assembly elections. The Regional Minister, Honorable Marigold Assam. Any blood, and I mean any blood, that is spilled here in Cape Coast as a result of this confirmation process will not be on my hands. It wouldn't be on the hands of Honorable Minta Nyakung. It will not be on the hands of the decent assemblymen. It will only be on the hands of the president and the hands of the perpetrators who have come to Cape Coast to ensure that they forced Honorable Ernest Arthur under our throats.
They want the Interior Minister to investigate the invasion of invisible forces in Cape Coast to intimidate and harass the assembly members prior to the voting.
The assembly members would like to humbly ask the police commander to investigate a speculation that MPP's invisible forces and land guards have arrived here in Cape Coast on Saturday, the 9th of October, to intimidate the assembly members and the people of Cape Coast who, in their interest, will gather to observe the confirmation process and brutalize them if necessary. They have no reason to doubt that the MCE nominee is capable of doing that because he demonstrated that during the 2020 election when he was a parliamentary candidate and a certain MCE. It has been alleged that some of the personalities that I mentioned who are involved in the so-called Operation Force Ernest Arthur on Cape Coast are in Bajaya Hotel or lodge there, calling assembly members one by one, inducing them with monies, motorbikes, and contracts to vote yes for Ernest Arthur. Some are being intimidated, some are made to swear, and all manner of fear put in them in just an assembly election.
They further indicate they doubt the president has renominated Ernest Arthur and challenge them to use the right procedure in communicating so.
The assembly members have received no summons or no notifications to whether the elections will come on or not. The assembly members are appealing through us to demand summons from the authorities when these elections will be held. Number 2, information reaching them suggests that there had not been any communique in the form of a wireless message between the presidency, local government minister, and the assembly on the renomination for the third time of Mr. Ernest Atta by the president. The assembly members would therefore like to demand a proof.
They end by inviting the ancestors to be with them as the battle ahead represent the democratic soul of the people of Cape Coast. Reporting for Joy News, Richard Kwejonya-Akon, Cape Coast.
Now, Chairman of Parliament's Select Committee on Finance, Kweku Kwarteng, is backing calls for the Ghana Revenue Authority to severely sanction its staff indicted in the Joy News expose fake clearance. Joy News investigations uncovered how some staff of the GRA said businesses bidding for contracts to circumvent laid-down procedures in the acquisition of tax clearance certificates for them. With a paltry sum of 1,500 cedis, officials are able to forge tax records for newly created companies without any evidence of work. Joy News' Kwetenate has more in the following report titled Fake Clearance.
I have received countless information that contractors and business owners fake tax clearance certificates so they can bid for government contracts. So I set out to verify the authenticity of this claim. I began by registering a company called Basket Ports. Barely a week after the company became official, I set out to get a tax clearance certificate, even though my company had no tax record. Before we get into the detail of how I managed to get a forged tax clearance certificate, which could pass off as authentic, the head of Domestic Tax Office, Edward Jamra, explains why a tax clearance certificate is important.
Tax clearance certificate is a compliance tool which is used by the Ghana Revenue Authority to ensure that a taxpayer who holds that has complied with his or her tax obligation.
With the explanation out of the way, I approached a Ghana Revenue Authority staff who worked with another tax officer at the Agbogloshi GRA office and was asked to pay a sum of 1,500 cedis. I told them I needed a good turnaround tax record, and they secured a tax clearance certificate covering 3 years. The certificate reads, "Professionally not liable to tax, deposit 500 cedis. This should help the investigative team to secure a government contract with ease."
A tax certificate that has a good turnaround.
I don't get you. You said?
They need a tax certificate that has a history that I've done some job. Than a zero tax certificate. Would I have to pay all at once or I can make down payment?
No.
Okay, I need to pay all at once.
No, you should be.
And if I pay, how long will it take for me to get?
The time it comes.
But maybe
for
next
now,
week.
I'll send it. I'll send it. I'll send it to them. So
maybe next week I'll bring the money.
Monday or Tuesday to be ready.
Oh, okay.
It will all depend on you.
The certificate was prepared within 3 days.
Baby, I made it back on.
So let's see Tuesday. So Tuesday I would have to come.
Oh, you don't need to come. If it's ready, you can memo it to me.
Okay, no problem.
Head of the Domestic Tax Office, Edward Jamra, says the practice is fraudulent. He explains why.
If it's a new company cannot. So
This is Joy News Prime with me, Ernest Min. We're taking a short break. When we return, we'll bring you the latest in the world of business. Stay with us.
Hello, I'm Dori Nando. You can catch up with all the fun on the Cosmopolitan Mix and on all our shows via podcast. Just go to My Joy Online podcast and search for your favorite show and relive those moments all over again. Only on Joy 99.7 FM, radio for discerning listeners.
Super Hits Radio, Joy 99.7.
Good evening, time now for your business update. My name is Darryl Kwao. The National Petroleum Authority says it is awaiting the green light to enforce a directive from President Akufo-Addo freezing the implementation of the price stabilization and recovery levies on petrol, diesel and LPG for 2 months. The Ministry of Energy and Finance are expected to quicken the legislative processes to give immediate effect to the directive amid escalating oil prices on the international market. Mohamed Abdul Kudus is head of communications at the Corporate Affairs Division of the NPA.
Statement rightly put it. There's supposed to be a certain process so we can have the effect actually felt at the pump. As you are aware, it is something that Parliament will also have to have a review and the promise that has actually been made by government. This is an intention that government has expressed to all of us. I believe the delight goes to everybody across the consuming sphere, including myself and yourself. We only will do the implementation when the communication is finally sent to us that it has actually been reviewed. As we speak, the communication has not come to us that it has been okayed for us to really take it out of the equation in the price buildup. So when the determination is made, we would actually feature that. And as you know, the pricing window is twice a month, the 1st to 15th, which has already been determined. So if we have the communication given to us, hopefully before close of 15th, the second window of pricing from 16th of this month, we probably should be able to have a feel of it at the pump.
Petroleum Consumers Ghana has lauded the removal of the price stabilization and recovery levies for 2 months as a good start. However, Executive Secretary Duncan Amwa says in the long term, government must reduce overbearing taxes in the price build-up to mitigate the impact of rising oil prices on consumers.
This is a welcoming development. We've been asking for the price stabilization and recovery levy to be removed all this while. The only downside is the NPA failing to indicate when this reduction is taking effect. We were expecting that it was going to be a communique directing the various oil marketing companies to immediately, with effect from today, reduce the stabilization and recovery levy. Being that as it may, we still feel that Mr. President would need to also look at the Finance Ministry and look at the pricing build-up completely or thoroughly. You are getting into a season where prices are simply going to go up again and again and again.
In other news tonight, the National Cybersecurity Authority has begun the move to develop standards to certify experts and practitioners as part of the Cybersecurity Act 2020 passed by Parliament. Speaking after a forum on the new law, Minister for Communications and Digitalization, Esla Usu-Ekufo, disclosed that this is critical to ensure the industry has no charlatans. There's more in this report.
According to the Minister for Communication and Digitalization, Esla Owusu-Ekufo, there is a lack of skilled jobs in the cybersecurity space which many can take advantage of, a situation she fears may be an opportunity for unscrupulous persons to take advantage. She, however, expects the development of standards and certification to address this challenge.
The public sector needs their services. The private sector also needs their services. And so it's an area that I'll urge our young people to focus on and consider. That and data analytics are two areas that I really want our young people to focus on in this technology space. There are other critical sectors. So all three areas, training institutions, industry players, policymakers, need to sit down and design the minimum standards. And it is the Cybersecurity Authority which is supposed to license and accredit professionals in this sector using those minimum standards and other requirements that they've already established. And not just the professionals, but the service providers as well, so that we can weed out charlatans and those who are pretending to have skills that they really don't have.
Meanwhile, Acting Director General of the National Cybersecurity Authority, Dr. Albert Entry-Boisiako, has emphasized the need for cybersecurity professionals to be trained and certified.
Cybersecurity regulations have the benefit of protecting our critical systems and our digital infrastructure. Provisions in the Act are to support systematic development of the cybersecurity subsector of the emerging digital economy. Cybersecurity regulations which Ghana has adopted through the passage of the Act is to protect you as practitioners and the industry as a whole.
There is a projected cost of $6 trillion to cybersecurity attacks by the end of the year.
That's business. More news on our website, myjoyonline.com/business. The news continues after this break.
What's up, guys? My name is Sammy Forson, host of the Weekend City Show and Ignition right here on Joy 99.7 FM. Well, anytime you happen to be busy and you miss out on your favorite shows right here on Joy FM, here's what you can do. Log on to myjoyonline.com/podcast. Just go on there and you'll find all your shows on demand 24/7. There you can catch up. Remember, Joy FM remains your radio for discerning listeners.
Many thanks for staying with us. Time to bring you sport. I am Hans Mensah, and the Black Stars of Ghana have held their final training session in Harare ahead of tomorrow's World Cup qualifier against Zimbabwe. Now, Ghana defeated the Warriors 3-1 in the reverse fixture on October 9 at the Cape Coast Stadium. There is more in this report.
Black Stars are battle ready for Tuesday's World Cup qualifier against Zimbabwe. The four-time African champions sit second in Group G after 2 wins and 1 defeat. They have been preparing in earnest ahead of the crucial encounter. The team, under the command of Milovan Rajovic, held their last training session on Monday night at the National Stadium in Harare, venue for the tie. The team is in good physical condition and there are no injury concerns so far. Ghana defeated the Warriors 3-1 in the reverse fixture, courtesy goals from Mohamed Kudus, Thomas Partey and Andre Ayew. Will the Warriors be targeting revenge when they lock horns with Ghana on October 12? Here is their coach, Norman Mapeza.
I don't believe in that word revenge. It's a game of football. Revenge, you can only revenge use maybe in boxing, not in football. So I cannot talk of revenge. We're gonna play Ghana on Tuesday. We play to the best of our abilities and try to get a result. Not about revenge, no.
A win for Ghana in Zimbabwe will boost their chances of securing a 4th World Cup berth, having competed in the 2006, 2010 and 2014 editions.
Meanwhile, head coach of the Black Stars, Milovan Rajovic, has told his players their destiny lies in their own hands if they want to qualify for the 2022 FIFA World Cup. The Black Stars are second in Group G, a point behind leaders Bafana Bafana of South Africa. For Milo, a win in Harare is a must.
Okay, guys. Say a few words. First, I would like to congratulate all of you for yesterday's victory. I'm proud of you. You are a real team. When we were in a problem during the match, you showed that you can show your real face, and we were able to win this match despite all difficulties. This victory is very important for us, for our confidence. So we will do our best to improve and to prepare for the next match. So our focus is on the next match. As you all could see, the match lasts until the end whistle. So it was not easy, but you were able to come on top and to bring happiness to everybody. So we should keep up with this, the same rhythm. We have to give our best. Everything is in our hands.
And that'll be all for sports. You can read more at myjoyonline.com/sport. I'm Hans Mensando. Many thanks for your time.
Hi, this is Lexus Bill, host of Drive Time on Joy 99.7 FM. Listen, you don't have to worry if you miss Drive Time or Personality Profile. It's going to be live on our podcast page. Just log on to www.myjoyonline.com/podcast. You can listen to Drive Time, Personality Profile, and any other of your favorite shows on Joy FM on that page. You don't have to miss a show at all. Joy 99.7 FM, radio for discerning listeners.
And I love Showbiz on Mondays because we get to be updated with everything that happened over the weekend. KMJ is here.
Absolutely.
My brother, how are you doing?
I'm good. Good to be here.
Great.
I hope you're good.
Yeah, I'm fine. Tell
Great
us,
stuff.
what have we missed?
All right, so you missed a lot. I mean, Kwame Eugene's Afro High Life is doing the most right now. A lot of people are looking forward to the album, the EP, even though it's not out yet. Banker is out, and he's been talking about why he featured nobody on that EP.
Oh, there was nobody?
It was just him, on the EP, the Afro High Life EP. And he's been talking about why he did so. Black Sherry has also spoken about the fashion industry here in Ghana. She's a makeup artist, very renowned one here in Ghana. And so we're going to take from the Kwame Eugene story. He says that he's used to doing songs alone, and so he won't be worried if people see him to be the only person on the EP. And he's been talking about it. Let's have the video of that.
Yeah, I mean, every song on the album is just me. I'm just used to doing songs alone. Yeah. And this one in particular, I had to go see the legends. I had a time and I had opportunity to have legendary that could produce one of the songs on the EP with me, which, I mean, actually throw more light on the kind of vision I wanted to put together.
All right.
Yeah.
So he's used to doing songs alone, which is the only reason why he didn't feature anybody.
Well, he's Kwame Eugene. He's always said that he's just the best in Ghana. So let's see how the Afro High Life.
Wahala for who no be industry player.
Already there are issues on the Afro High Life name.
Yeah.
And so we'll find that details on that later on. But let's talk about the fashion industry. There's Black Sherry, who's one of the finest makeup artists in Ghana. She's been talking about the fashion industry, where we've come from and where we're going and what we can do to improve it. Here's more of that.
I think that the designers are really doing well. They're upping the game. It's not like before. Right now, everything has really changed. I think everything has really changed and we are on the right path.
When you say on the right path, what are we doing good? What are we doing right?
Okay, so now it's no longer the usual styles that you see. I think people do themselves, like they allow themselves to inspire themselves. Nobody's copying nobody anymore. Everybody's just standing out with their own style, with their own brand. That's what I think we're doing right.
So that's Black Sherry.
Are you a makeup, Black Sherry? Are you a makeup person? Would you allow your wife, girlfriend do makeup, or you want the natural thing?
Natural, all the better.
Okay, so.
Yeah. My producer is saying something back,
Okay. Also for the say, that's what the producer said anyway.
Oh no, I'm not saying I'm against makeup. I'm just saying if it's natural, all the better. Look, I wish I could be on TV without putting powder on my face.
Yeah.
But
you have to.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, thank you very much.
Love you.
That's all for Showbiz. Thank you, KMJ, and up next is international news. Thanks for staying with us here on Joy News Prime. Now, the chief of New Ochiase, Nana Kwabi Kufuor I, has barred community members from crossing the Orphan River until the water subsides or bigger canoes are acquired. This follows the drowning of 4 persons who were part of a group of 10 using a canoe to cross the river. A rescue team has retrieved 3 bodies after hours of search. 1 more body is still trapped in the Orphan River. Prince Apia was in the community and has filed this report.
Dejection, sadness, and hopelessness remain the mood of members of the new Achianse community in the Chumamponia district as they await several rescue teams in search of those missing underwater. 4 of their young ones drowned in the Orphan River on Friday. 10 of them were trapped when crossing the river to their farms, but 6 were found alive. So right behind me is the rescue team coming in with one of the bodies of the two remaining missing bodies in the Orphan River. It has been a frantic effort by the rescue teams trying so hard since morning to try and find the missing bodies. The reinforced rescue teams, put together by community leaders and NADMO, have managed to retrieve 3 out of the 4 bodies on Monday. The body of the third victim, 25-year-old Kwame Ochre, was found trapped under a bamboo in the Orphan River. Here is the sister of the 25-year-old. So this group of individuals are the set of rescue teams put together by the community to help bring the missing bodies from the Orphan River to the community and their families. It's been a very tiring exercise. Started 8 a.m. this morning, and for close to 6 hours, these rescue team have been on the Orphan River trying effortlessly to get the missing body. This is the leader of the rescue team, and we'll speak to him briefly to understand how difficult the situation has been. So what he has been saying is that they went right deep into the Orphan River and they managed to identify the bodies. There were 2, but they were together, and so they tried pulling them out, and unfortunately they were able to get only one person. The other is still stuck in the Orphan River, and that is what they are trying to prepare and go and get that body as well. So the assemblyman has been explaining that they are waiting for the officials from Environmental Protection Agency and help disinfect the area before they bury this particular body. Meanwhile, the chief of New Achiase, Nana Kwambi Kufuor I, has ordered community members to stop crossing the river Orphan until the situation normalizes. The District Security Council has been on measures to avert recurrence of such incidents. Prince Apia reporting.
Drowning incident at Achiase in the Chuma Imponua district point to the canoe being overloaded. 4 people who were part of the group of 10 crossing the river Orphan drowned after it capsized in the middle of the journey. According to the Ashanti Regional Minister Simon Osei-Mensah, the canoe involved in the accident had a capacity of 5 but was overloaded by 5 more people. He says though efforts are being made to procure safer plastic canoes, it is important for people to respect the capacity of the canoes.
The canoe they are talking about has a capacity of 5 people. Unfortunately, I'm told it had 10 people on board. So you can see twice the capacity was on board. And if you have such small canoe, as the weight increases, there is a possibility that it can take some water and the people can get drowned. And when they get drowned and you are like me, who is like a stone when he falls in water, definitely that will be the end of you, because you cannot swim your way out unless you get somebody to rescue you. I plead that if the capacity is 5, they should allow 5 people to go and then come for the next 5 people. Even if you spend 2 hours there before you cross, it's better than losing your life through this process. That is the caution I can give. And I'm also happy that the District Chief Executive says they are acquiring 2 new boats, plastic canoe for them, which they can use on the river. I feel this can also minimize the risk of they getting drowned.
Now, in the same district, fire swept through the Nyinahine Catholic Senior High School on Saturday. Some Greek students who recently graduated are suspected to have carried out the arson. Mr. Osei Mensah says the District Security Council has been tasked to fully investigate the matter.
In fact, what is surprising is that RESEC sent a message out that some of the third-year students of the various senior high schools were planning to cause troubles after their final exams. So we should all have been on the alert. I don't know why this one, they left themselves loose and it happened. But this is something we've sent message around quite a long time from the level of the Regional Security Council, that some of them were planning evil. And unfortunately, it has come to pass in the case of Achumampunia district. I've asked the DCE to call an emergency dissect meeting for them to discuss the issue, because this one, the police will have to do the investigation, the fire service will also have to do the investigation.
The Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Patrick Kumar-Boaji, has hinted that all health facilities in the country will soon be running a 24-hour service. The move, according to him, is to reduce the crowding of patients at health facilities. He said it is unacceptable for some health centers to close early afternoon when they could run 24 hours. Dr. Patrick Kumar-Boaji made the statement at the 19th Annual General Meeting of the Medical Superintendents Group at Drapa in the Upper West region. Joy News' correspondent Rafiq Salam reports.
The 19th Annual General Meeting of the Medical Superintendents Group of Ghana was attended by members from all 16 regions in the country. It was held on the theme Health Crisis Management, Lessons Learned from the COVID-19 Pandemic. Director General of the Ghana Health Services, Dr. Patrick Kumar-Boaji, commended the Medical Superintendents Group for the professionalism and spirited performance during the COVID-19 pandemic, which has brought the country out of the woods. As a measure to stop crowding of patients at health facilities in the country, Dr. Patrick Kumar-Boaji hinted of initiating a model which health facilities will run a 24-hour service.
What we are trying to do is establishing a network where we strengthen the health set, the sub-district level, to run 24-hour service. I am sure that this director will bear with me that there are many of their health centers here closed by 2 o'clock. But that is wrong. Health centers are supposed to run 24 hours. If you can't get all of them, let's start slowly in creating a model that run 24 hours. Mobilize your human resource, your equipment, so that when I wake up at 2 a.m., I know that if I turn left, that facility will be open, so that we don't crowd out the hospitals of important cases and everybody goes there with everything. I think that's what we're trying to do. Hopefully we can look at that.
The annual general meeting serves as a strong song of the president of the Medical Superintendents Group, Dr. Joseph Kojo Tambel. He enumerated several achievements that his leadership chalked, which included the discontinuation of government policy on post-payment of electricity and water bills. He, however, pinpointed some issues that he want the new executives to pursue.
All the medical superintendents are asking for is that we be paid, we will put on our technical grades and paid an allowance for the managerial role that we play. Mr. Chairman, the proposed website and electronic newsletter for medical superintendents has been long on the drawing board, and I hope that the incoming executive group will push through to make sure that this happens. We believe that if this happens, it will give us a platform for us to share ideas, learn from each other, and also project the group.
Upper West Regional Director of Health Services, Dr. Damien Punyiri, lauded government on its decision to construct 111 hospitals in the country. He is however of the view that for government to achieve its objective, the involvement of the Medical Superintendents Group is key.
As you are aware, the government is embarking on an agenda to ensure that every district gets a hospital. One critical pillar needed to ensure the full operationalization of these hospitals, if the lessons from Upper West region regional hospital is concerned is competent leadership. Members of the medical superintendents group will be instrumental in grooming young doctors to meet this need. We will therefore need to begin identifying and mentoring young doctors, colleagues working with you to position them for this vital assignment.
Reporting for Joy News, Rafik Salam, Jirba.
You're watching Joy News Prime with me, Anna Smenu. When we return from this break, we'll hear from the Catholic Bishop Conference why they're debunking claims that Ghana risks becoming a Muslim-majority state if LGBTQ activities are allowed. We'll hear from them after this break.
Hello, my name is Evans Mensah, and you can relive all the fun and excitement on Top Story, Newsnight, and of course, Ghana Connect via podcast. All you need to do is to log on to myjoyonline/podcast. Search for your favorite show and relive the moment. Joy 99.7 FM, your radio for discerning listeners.
Thanks for staying with us. Now, Catholic Bishop Conference is debunking claims that Ghana risks becoming a Muslim-majority state if LGBTQ plus activities are allowed. The president of the conference, Most Reverend Philip Name, said the publication by CNN was not a true reflection of the conversation he had with a media outlet, which has been replicated in some local news portals. At a news conference to refute the allegations, Most Reverend Philip Name maintained the publication was intended to derail the collective quest for the passage of the proper human sexual rights and family values.
I have friends, of the media. My attention has been drawn to a publication purportedly coming from CNN last week. The said publication with a headline, Ghana risks becoming Muslim majority country if LGBTQ is allowed. This was by My News GH, also found its way to other media outlets, including Ghana Web. In the said interview, I'm alleged to have said that Ghana risks becoming a Muslim country if LGBTQIA+ is allowed in the country. I wish to state categorically and for the avoidance of doubt that the statement attributed to me are false and do not in any way reflect the actual content of the conversation, which has to do with the Church's support for the bill. The position of the Catholic Church on LGBTQIA+, which I have stated in several interviews with the media, has remained the same, that such practices are against not only Christian values, but Muslim and traditional values as well. In addition, I have the feeling that they only sought to cause disaffection for me and break the front of the formidable coalition behind the proper human sexual rights and family values bill. It is in the light of the above that I call on all peace-loving Ghanaians and all people of goodwill to disregard with contempt the fabrications and distortions which are intended to distract our collective quest to make sure the bill is passed.
The Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, has charged the newly constituted 9-member Legal Service Board to spearhead the establishment of an efficient, reputable and well-motivated legal service sector in the country. The Legal Service Board, per the Act that established the Board, Legal Service Act PNDC Law 320, serves as the body required to advise the President on matters connected with the structure and conduct of the affairs of the service, and in particular in relation to the recruitment, appointment, promotion, discipline, dismissal, and any other conditions of service of officers in the service. Addressing members of the board after administering the official oath and the oath of secrecy to them at the Jubilee House, the Vice President noted that the presidency is looking forward to receiving the advice of the board on matters connected with the structure and conduct of affairs in the service, particularly in relations to the recruitment, appointment and promotion and dismissal and other conditions of service for officers.
Functions of this board are clearly set out in Section 9 of the Legal Service Act, which provide, among others, to advise the President on the matters connected with the structure and conduct of the affairs of the service, and in particular in relation to the recruitment, appointment, promotion, discipline, dismissal, and any other conditions of service of officers of the service. As could be clearly seen, you have the onerous responsibility to deal with recruitment and discipline in the service. These two functions have been singled out in view of the importance the government places on the need to recruit the right caliber of staff to ensure that the machinery of government is run professionally and with utmost diligence and candor. Ghana cannot afford to have a legal service that is made up of people whose competence and diligence to work are in doubt.
The chairman of the Legal Service Board and Minister of Justice and Attorney General of the Republic, Godfred Dame, assured that they will work very hard to prove themselves equal to the tasks entrusted to them by the state. He called on the Vice President to be the lead advocate in government for the improvement of conditions of service of staff of the Attorney General's Department.
Members of the Legal Service Board, express our profound appreciation to you, Mr. Vice President, for inaugurating the board this afternoon. And it is a call to duty that we do not take lightly at all. The high caliber of composition of the Legal Service Board clearly speaks to the seriousness with which the government, as well as all institutions required to nominate members onto the Legal Service Board, have taken the duty. We are very mindful of the burden on us in accordance with the Legal Service Act. We will assure you that indeed we will prove equal to the task and will not disappoint you. Mr. Vice President, indeed we are also mindful of the support the government has extended to us this year, especially by way of extra budgetary support. By your personal inauguration of this board, indeed speaks or underscores the importance that the government places on the Legal Service Board. Indeed, we consider you to be in it with us as your president inaugurated us. And we will not hesitate to call upon you. And we also urge you to be our chief advocate in ensuring an improvement of the conditions of service of the Office of Attorney General.
And you're watching Joy News Prime with me, Anna Smith. Let's bring you some more stories here. Nyinahene Nana Ampeni Boateng II has charged the District Assembly and other stakeholders in education to, as a matter of urgency, set up a committee to investigate the fire incident at the Nyinahene Catholic SHS. Friday's suspected arson destroyed the boys' dormitory of the school, displacing about 100 students.
So pathetic that at this day and age, government has introduced free SHS. Students should be grateful. They should appreciate the government's effort. Why set the school ablaze when you have gone through the walls of the school Everybody is proud of his former school. Everybody is proud. We talk about all students associations, how they help with the development of their various schools. And you, somebody who has just passed out, come back to burn down the school. It's unthinkable. It's unthinkable. We met the DC and the other stakeholders.
And there's heavy traffic building up in town. My colleague Maxwell Oba is out there on the street. He's on the Accra Saom Highway. Maxwell, tell us what is happening there. What is, bringing this heavy traffic and how commuters are actually reacting?
Yes, Ernest. So about 15 minutes ago, we're around the Tesano area on the Accra and Sawam stretch. There was a bumper-to-bumper traffic about 15 minutes ago. But now what you can see right now is the congestion itself has kind of like reduced, and now there's traffic flow on the stretch where we are currently. It was very difficult for us to get to the point where we had a broken down truck, which we had was actually causing the massive traffic congestion, in this part of town. We do not know what has changed about the situation because it was difficult for us, the crew, to actually get to the spot where we had a reported broken down truck. But this caused a lot of inconvenience for motorists and people who had closed from their offices. We actually saw the spillover of the congestion on the Fanofa Street right in front of Joy FM, where we had many people who had closed from work sitting in their vehicle, many of them looking frustrated. In fact, a gentleman who I met about 5 minutes ago told me that he was in the ride-hailing service, and every minute counts, for him. He said he had no option but to cancel the trip and then continue the rest on a motorbike. The only people, about 30 minutes ago, the only people who were unconcerned about the situation were hawkers and then Okada riders who were cashing in on the situation. But there seemed to be some kind of relief for motorists because now what we are witnessing now is a better, far better version of what we saw about 30 minutes ago, where we had bumper-to-bumper traffic with no vehicle moving at all, Ernest.
Maxwell, thank you very much for bringing us up to speed on what is happening on our highways. Good news that, vehicles can now move freely on the highway. And that's how we wrap up Joy News Prime. Many thanks for your company. You find a lot more stories when you log on to myjoyonline.com. I'm Ernest Mino. Good night. Up next is Hotline Documentary.